with MXoN, because that was a race that we used to do a show on, but this year especially is kind of like, whatever.
Yeah, COVID took a hit on that one.
Yeah. So, okay. So 2021 MXoN, Italy wins.
Yep.
Little bit of controversy surrounding it with that first turn deal.
Yep.
Thoughts on that? Because I know you paid attention to this race. I did not watch it.
So
I watched the highlights reel. That's it.
So see, that's the thing too is I didn't watch all the highlights. I only watched the first two motos and watched clips of the third moto. What first turn controversy are you talking about? Because there was a situation.
Third moto, Lupino goes off.
Okay.
He was in, I don't know what place, somewhere in the top 10. He goes off. He ends up riding beside the track, missing like the next 2 corners or something. Finally finds a spot to get back on, and he is basically like 4th place, or like lets the first 3 dudes go and then jumps on in 4th.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, well, he really shouldn't have been allowed in at that point, but where the hell do you expect him to go back in? And it was a whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, with everything that was going on during this year's MX of Nations, being in Italy at Mantova, the Italian team being one of the strongest it's been in a long, long time, them being the favorites, obviously. I didn't hear too much about that. It doesn't really shock me. Like, we're MX Sports and like Feld, we know that off and on track issues, excursions or whatever you want to call them, have been a thing the last couple of years. And like, what's the right penalty? How do you dish it out? The MXGP, they're a little bit more loose with some of that kind of stuff. Do I agree with that? No, that's a little messed up, but it doesn't really shock me. I mean, I've seen guys cut like a quarter of the track and come back on. And
he was penalized.
Yeah.
But it was only 10 spots.
Yep.
And everyone says, well, if he'd had to like go back on where he came off, he'd have been last place.
Yeah, I mean, Alessandro Lupino, I don't even know what he ended up that moto, but with that moto, yeah, it was pretty. The MX3 class was pretty weak this year, just to the fact that there wasn't a lot of people there. He probably still would have ended up in the top 10. So I don't really have too much to say on that. And as far as Italy winning, I mean, we even talked about this before, even though we weren't as excited about this one. Like the Italian team with Tony Cairoli, this being his very last one because this is his last season. Mattia Guadagnini, who was leading the MX2 points, earlier this year, and then Lupino, like outside the Dutch team, and the Dutch team actually would have been the favorites, but their MX2 guy was hurt going into that weekend, so it automatically deferred to Italy. To see them win on their home turf, it sucks that there wasn't more people there because I think it would have been as big as when we won on home turf in 2007 and in 2010. So it was pretty cool, and it was really, really cool to see Tony win his last ever time there.
Yeah.
But I mean, that weekend, it just wasn't a normal MX of Nations. We weren't there. There was a lot of countries that didn't go, especially being in the middle of the MXGP season. Hurling's dominated. Cairoli had good races. Even
the diehard like MXGP fans that I've heard talk on podcasts, they're like, yeah, this wasn't
no.
good.
I mean, the only outcome that you could have been like, oh yeah, I seen that coming was Jeffrey winning.
Yeah.
Like Jeffrey annihilated everybody, both of his motos.
Yep.
But like the leading MX2 guy was Renee Hoffer, and like he's been really, really good this season. But like it was just weird to see him be the top MX2 dude. And I don't even know who won MX3. I don't know if it was Koldenhoff. I don't know who won the MX3 division. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it was just there wasn't as much excitement about this year. And the fact, once again, we had another mud MX of Nations race.
Yeah.
So
look, no one gives a shit about this race. I've said it before. I'll say it again.
Well, the MXGP guys do. We just here in America don't give a shit about it that much. But I did see in your notes we're going to talk about Redbud. I think that you're going to see that narrative's going to change.
It's going to be awesome. I'm pumped.
Yeah. See, that's the funny. See how funny that is, though. Like that's just how it is. Like we don't give a shit when we're out of the country, but if we're in our own country for the MX of Nations,
no. So here's the excitement behind 2022 MXoN being at Redbud. Okay.
Yeah.
I get to watch all these dudes that I don't normally see ride.
Yeah.
It could be a standard MXGP race.
Yep.
I'd be pumped to go to it.
Well, yeah, you get to watch her.
MXoN has nothing to do with it. It's just the guys that are going to ride there. I don't give a fuck about MXoN.
Well, no, because it's like just the way it's run. It's gone downhill in the last 10 years. But yeah,
yes,
like you get to see Jeffrey ride, you get to see Timmy G ride.
Yes.
You're not going to get to see Cairoli ride, which is unfortunate, but you get to see Roman Fevre ride.
Here's the downside.
Tom Viel ride.
Here's the downside. They all have different numbers. I don't know who the hell anybody is.
No, and see that's the unfortunate thing for like somebody like you who was kind of like a a fair weather MXGP guy like you.
I've been paying attention more this year, not watching full races or whatever, but I have been watching
that's what I mean,
all
though.
the reviews.
Yeah.
So like I know the names better this year. I kind of know how the season's going for people. Like I've been keeping up on it more than I have in previous years.
So like to my point is when they come here and you get to see them ride, you don't know who they really are because all you would be looking for is numbers, But like for me, everybody knows that watches the show. I'm a diehard MXGP guy. Like I followed this stuff for a long time, even dating back to when I first was getting into racing. So like when I watch these guys, I know I can watch them. I don't need to know their number, and I know their style. But like that's the only unfortunate thing for people that don't pay attention to the GPs as much. They really don't know. But that's also it's kind of a good thing though because you get to watch the way they attack the track so much different than like Tony in 2018. That very first practice session when he came out and just the way he was flowing through the track, the way he was going outside in, staying off the clutch and corners, the way he was rounding ruts. Like you get an appreciation for like when people watch when Euros watch our guys ride Supercross. That's how it's to watch guys that just ride outdoors. It's a totally different way of going out there and riding an outdoor track. So I expect 2022 Redbud, especially if the weather stays good. It's once again kind of like what we thought in 2018. I think it's going to be the biggest one ever. I really do.
I hope it's nice. I hope it doesn't rain again.
See, and the other great thing is this year or next year too, though, is we don't have as much of an excuse to not send our top guys, other than if AC is our top guy, because he relies on Yamaha now. Our top guys in the 250 class are usually on the star team. Like, there's not going to be an excuse to not send probably our best team. Unless AC is somehow winning the 450 class, there's going to be no excuse to not send the best team that we could if everybody's healthy.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the thing is to be like, okay, like.
How cool is it going to be to watch Jet slap cheeks outside on all those 450 boys?
Wow, that might not happen, though. Like, he's not. It just depends on what class you're talking about.
See that? I stumped you. You didn't even have a response.
Because I didn't think about the fact of, like, with Jet.
That's because he's going to slap cheeks on that, too. He's going to be the next coming of Villapoto.
No, he's not going to pull a Villapoto.
All right, sure.
That'll never happen ever again.
Sure.
Dude, no. Because if Justin
He's
Cooper...
a generational talent.
If Justin Cooper can beat Jet Lawrence is not going to beat any of those 450 boys. It's just not going to happen.
It's going to slap cheeks, bro.
Yeah, maybe like
That's what the kids are saying now.
Maybe like the back of the pack, like 7 to 10 450 dudes.
Dude, when he beats Hurlings, I'm going to laugh.
It's never going to happen.
Okay.
Never going to happen. Because that's implying that you think that he could beat Dylan Ferendis. Yeah, I would bet you $1,000 he would never beat Jeffrey Hurling straight up. Never going to happen. Not going to happen.
24-0 outdoors next year.
Yeah, that's not going to happen either.
24-0.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Anyways.
24-0 outdoors?
Keep taking drugs, bro. Keep taking drugs.
And then he's going to slap cheeks at MXoN at Redbud next year.
I bet you he don't even win his own class. I bet you Tom VL spanks his ass.
No way.
Yep.
Nope.
Yep.
If you're gonna pitch me Tom, dude. Okay, here we go. We can get into this then.
Okay.
Tom VL.
Yep.
Wins MXGPs because the KTM 250s are like the star Yamahas of the U.S. That's actually not. That's the only reason he wins.
But that's actually not true anymore because now the Yamaha team over there is like what Star is here.
They still haven't. They've only been that way for like a year. They haven't had time to develop that bike enough.
But that's the thing, though, is the guy who's leading the MX2 division right now, Maxim Renault, is on the Yamaha team. But the only reason he's leading the MX2 division is because Tom Vial literally took like 3 races off with an injury.
Yes.
Tom Vial has been slapping his PP around for the last 5 rounds.
Again, because that KTM
but
is
he's
the
beat
cheater bike over there, much like the Star Yamaha is a cheater bike here. You put Vial on any of those other bikes, and I bet you he is just a normal dude, just like all those other guys.
No.
I will say the one exception I have seen in the last however many, I mean, dude, it works the same way with Hurlings.
Hurlings would win on any bike.
Hurlings like he's been doing the last how many years?
You know he's the points leader right now, right? He caught Geyser.
Oh, yeah, he passed.
Yeah,
did he pass him or is he tied with him after this weekend?
Last weekend he was
up. He lost.
Yeah, because did you see what happened between him and Prado? Prado landed on him on the finish.
Yes, I did.
So Hurlings
cut him off.
Yes, Hurlings is taking a new approach. He's taking a new approach that I don't need to win every race.
Yes,
but he literally missed 2 races. Caught Geyser, passed him in the points. The second moto, he's like, "Hey, I don't need to win Geyser, and I don't know what happened today, but I'm going to probably assume
Hurlings did win today." I don't know what he did in the first race, but he won. But he won the second race.
Yeah, he's the points leader.
So he's got to be at least tied, if not won.
So he's the points leader.
Points.
So he caught Geyser.
Cool. Yes. Except for there's still been races he's not been able to touch some of these dudes
because he wasn't healthy. He's now healthy, and he's proven.
Right.
He's proven, dude. I'm just telling you.
Beginning of the year, there was still dudes he wasn't touching.
Yeah, because he was coming back from being paralyzed.
All right.
Like dude. You can call me a.
He is fast.
He's the fastest dude in the. He's the fastest dude in the
arguing.
world. He's the fastest dude in the world.
Outdoors, yes.
Yes, he is. He will slap the shit out of everybody. As much as I'm a big Dylan Ferendis fan, he would slap the shit out of Dylan on an outdoor track. Hurlings is the best outdoor rider in the world.
I still also don't believe over there that any of the bikes outside of maybe the Hondas, the HRC Hondas, I feel like, but outside of that, I don't feel like any of those teams have those bikes developed as well as KTM.
Well, no, because KTM's been winning. Yeah,
in the GPs are the cheater bikes of the series.
But you still got to have a good rider that can ride them.
I'm not saying he's not
like
good.
I said,
I'm just saying if I put him on that fucking whatever it is, Ice Kawasaki or whatever, I bet you he is not anywhere close to what he is right now.
Fevra's been pretty damn good this year.
I still bet money. Prado is the one surprise I've seen in the last few years come out of that 250 class that has been really making moves in 450. Now, again, he's on one of them cheater bikes, those cheater KTMs, which is fine, whatever.
But see, here's the thing,
but
though.
He's the only one that has impressed me coming out of the 250.
Here's the reason why you can't call them cheater bikes, though, because every person over there can have a factory bike. There's no rules on it.
I understand that. I'm just saying KTM has dumped more money by far than any other team into developing both the 250 and the 450. Yeah. If they could bring those KTM 250s from over here for our outdoor series, the KTM team, way fucking better.
But you also can't blame them that for though because their R&D is better.
I don't blame. I'm just saying that like when you're that much farther ahead, it's like Mercedes and the Williams team in Formula One. Okay, there's a big difference in cars there and development.
I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I'm just saying that I believe that Tom Viel, if he is the French MX2 guy next year, which I'm going to assume he's going to be because he should win. He should have won the MX2 championship, even though there's still rounds to go. He's so far back because he missed so many races. If he's the MX2 guy for next year, all I will say to people is if he's healthy, he will give Jet Lawrence everything he can handle.
Jet's going to spank his cheeks
all
over the place.
See, the thing is the reason why I disagree with that is because I've watched Tom Viel for the last 3 years go from nothing, a nobody, like a literal nobody. Yes. He wasn't even winning the MX2 class, and now he was a world champion last year. He should have been the world champion this year. And the reason why I say that is because, once again, it all comes down to the fact the way their racecraft is. If he gets a start on Jet will not be able to pass him. Now, if it's the other way around and he's trying to catch Jet, it might be a little different story. But if he gets a start, he is a smarter rider than Jet. He's not more naturally talented than Jet, but he is a smarter rider than Jet.
We're getting close.
He's a smarter rider than Jet, which is why I don't think Jet would be able to pass him. I'm not saying he's not going to pull some Marv Southwick shit with Eli where he's just fucking inside out, outside in, like riding a wide bike and being dumb. He is just one of those guys like Prado was and like Jeffrey was that when he gets a start, he just knows how to win races. He just does. And that's what they even said. Even Jason Thomas, there was the Italy race a couple weeks ago that he was on there. He goes, Viel, he's one of those guys that if you give him a lead, you're never going to catch him. It does not matter who you are.
Well, he hasn't raced Jet Lawrence yet.
No, he has not raced Jet Lawrence yet. But that's what I'm saying is that if
he's going to slap them cheeks. Let's timestamp this for next year, 2022.
Everybody also thought that in 2018, Aaron Plessinger was going to slap the PP off everybody, and look what happened to him. Hunter Lawrence came over here and dropped everybody in the nuts. And so did Prado.
First off,
all I'm saying is,
I really think the AP has never been one of the guys. I'm like, that guy's going to slap cheeks everywhere.
Well, he proved this past year that was.
He's good. He is a very good rider.
All I'm saying
and I'm not
is
take
that
away. But at no point especially on a world stage, have I ever been like, yeah, AP's going to slap cheeks against all these other dudes.
Though I'm just saying is that we have this conversation every year, and not just you. There's a lot of people out there. We have another friend of this show that thinks that our guys, and obviously Jet's not an American, but the guys in our series, every year we have the same debate. They're going to beat them. They're going to beat them. And I keep telling you guys every year, we're not as good as those guys over there in outdoors. It's just fact. It's getting to the point that it is fact. It's not, you're not surmising it. It is fact.
But you have to remember, Jet's only 2 years removed from riding over there.
I understand that.
He's only 2 years removed. So
I understand that.
I'll agree with that.
But you get used to a certain way though the tracks break down over here, the way our guys ride.
Well, like I said, we're going to timestamp this, and Jet's going to slap cheeks next year, MXoN.
And then after he doesn't, I will sit up on the show once again on Sunday afternoon and say once again, I was right that the GP guys are better than our guys.
That's
it's just
you're
proven.
A fucking Nazi.
We had 2 un-Americans win both championships this year.
Communist fuck.
We had 2 un-Americans win both championships this year that both came from the GPs. What does that tell you?
Jet's not that far removed from that shit.
But what I'm saying is that two guys that are not from America that came from the GPs won both of our outdoor championships.
Yeah, I know.
That tells you. That's all you need to know.
Yes.
And they weren't even the best guys that when they left the GPs.
Yes.
So I'll just say it. Even Dylan's going to get slapped around because I guarantee Hurlings beats him, and I would almost go as far as say Geyser would beat him.
I don't know. We'll see.
It's just the way it is. It's
going to be an exciting race.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. I really am. But once again, America's going to get the shit kicked out of them, just like we do all the time.
Let's move on here.